Yeah, she's over there. All right. Over here.
Stand by that dump bug with this guy.
Because our game after we beat Kentucky, we played North Carolina State. You remember they had DJ Burns, a big guy, kind of like you.
Yeah.
He could have been an offensive.
They were
tackle.
trying to talk about playing. Exactly right.
Right.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
he was a monster.
Yeah.
So we get the stop. The game's tied. The winner goes to the Sweet 16. They end up winning in overtime. They go to the Final Four. That could have been Oakland, right? And we come down with the ball. I don't like the way it looks out there, and I call a timeout. We don't get a shot. I wake up at least 5 times a month at 2 a.m. I can't stop myself from thinking about it. Why did I call timeout? Normally, I don't know situations. I've got a set play. I just didn't like the way it looked. Maybe the pressure of it. Maybe, I choked under the pressure of it. I wanted to make sure why did I call timeout? And why is it such a bad timeout?
Yeah, that's
They
what
took away
they were
Burns
saying.
out of
It
the
looks
game.
great on my
And
end.
he was the worst defender on the floor.
Wow.
And the play called we
It's
that we
the
called
MiFi
had
is
worked
not getting
before in the
it.
game.
It looks good
and
on
got
my
our
end,
best
but I
player,
guess
Trey
it's not
Townsend,
look good on
shot.
your end.
But wasn't going to work this time because they took him out. They had no timeouts. We had the ball. If I don't call that
Let me see if I
timeout,
can change
DJ
something
Burns
here.
is
Hold
on the floor. Now I'm convinced we would have won, and so I blame myself.
Wow.
And instead of everybody, all that Kentucky thing, I don't even think about Kentucky. I think about we were 17 seconds from the Sweet 16.
Wow.
At Oakland.
So, Coach, so young, I mean, experience. You've been there, done that.
I was
But-
68 years old.
But what about a young coach? What about somebody young? What about somebody new in that situation right there? Would they sleep? Would it be the same thing? Would they wake up in the middle of the night thinking about that, or are they just too young to know?
Probably.
what
I think you're right. I think that they're going to think I get another chance. Will Oakland have another chance? I don't know.
Does this look any better?
Will Greg KAMPE ever have another chance? I don't know. I don't have that many years left, right?
Okay.
So-
well, I'm on the buddy stream.
That's
so let's
that's
see
a
how
hell of a
long it
question. I really
lasts.
never thought of it that way. I know Herb Sendek's not a young coach, and he's been there, and I know he did everything right. I feel we did everything right, but I called the timeout, and I can't take that back. And the best part of it is one of my best friends, his name's Bill Larkin, and I don't know I should say this on the air or not, but Bill runs a airplanes with charter airplanes. So we fly on his planes, and I've gotten to know him through that. And I play a ton of golf with him and everything. So the summer after that game, we have a kind of a big bet going on the putting green. I've got about a 7-footer to win the hole, and I leave it right in the cup and just like 2 inches short, and it doesn't go in. And I go, yeah, damn it, whatever. And I go, if I'd have just hit that a little harder. He goes, yeah, and if you wouldn't have called timeout against North Carolina State, you'd have been in the Sweet 16.
Oh,
I wanted to break my club over his head.
That'd be a couple less flights on that card. I can tell you that one. Now, speaking of coaching, let's talk about a coach and a coach in the Cheese State, Greg Gard, because he's got to be going through it right now as well. We'll do that next right here on 760 WJR.
A basketball was like a basketball.
looking for a slide.
You were for a slider, curve right, the little off speed for Danny Taylor. Wisconsin, they in on the opening weekend, and Greg Gard is just getting absolutely hammered. He's getting hammered by his own fan base. He's getting hammered by the Big Ten. And a couple of weeks ago, I was, I was on the internet. I like to argue. I like to talk to people. And, I get a little feisty. It's it's in my bloodline, right? And so I was talking about Dusty May and the transfer portal,
Okay.
and this, that, and the third. And I had some Badger fans in the mentions. They wanted to chat about it as well. And I went back and looked for one of the Badger fans that was there, and
I think I'd rather have a regular picture.
pour stuff on the boat, wave it to him, right? Because I didn't do it. I just wanted to check in on him to see how he was doing. He had some funny gifts and words for me after the fact. And for Wisconsin, the backcourt Badgers, Boyd and Blackwell,
Just controlling your back station.
Wisconsin team all season long. They put up a huge number yesterday. They couldn't get anything from anything else, and it's like
But I had to get off of the Wi-Fi
and
and
they
go on to their guest Wi-Fi.
once again on the opening, and it's just like they
good
couldn't get over that hump.
Good back to the station.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I know. So when I went to
talk
the
about these two having played. I think that
guest, it
pressure
they
of
said
this
was better
we
now.
talked about,
So,
and it gets to you, and they know it, and it's talked about, and
they're hard line for the broadcast, but
extreme
StreamYard were not hard line.
crew for next year. The first day they're going to talk about, our right now.
Technically, is
We have got to get to the first week
I
and win
could.
second
So I
week,
brought
and
Keith's Wi-Fi, but they said that was
that's what we have to do. That's our goal. Nothing else
What
matters.
we could do is
What they don't understand by doing that,
a
they're doing it. It puts pressure and every day more positions have been issued. But I mean, they just played as good in the Big Ten tournament as they could possibly. In fact, everybody was saying that. Look out for Wisconsin. On the TV shows that we did about brackets, people were saying, well, Wisconsin, because they played so good in that tournament. And I was like, they got to prove it, because of that pressure that those kids, and I feel bad for Blackwell. And the reason I say that is he's a Brother Rice kid. We recruited him. I know his dad. They're great people. He is an unbelievable kid. And I would absolutely love to play him. And the fact that they lost again feels really bad.
They did a
all right. Yeah, you're right about again, right? It seems like to me the NCAA tournament, you could come in, number 1 seed, number 2 seed. It seems like it's the tournament of the unexpected. Because it seems like something's going to happen. Somebody, the slip on the fall off, or you're going to see this Cinderella team. Just like we was talking about the big fella last year. He's a big nimble fella, the guy from North Carolina State last year. But he captivated everybody and that team there and everything. I mean, why? And I guess it's because you were saying, there's 60 some odd teams involved in that. Is that part of the reason why you get the unexpected? I mean, I know basketball is a game where you could kind of sit back and say, well, this team should beat this team. But it seems like all out the windows when you get to the NCAA tournament.
Right. But you think about this, and in recruiting, we talk about in football, maybe a quarterback can affect. You can't win without the.
Say again now.
With him or their brain.
So kind of weird. They do like a short
and a kicker.
And then they'll do another one to get around.
Get at 27, 28, and one guy can't affect the game like it can in basketball.
Oh yeah.
How does Oakley went nuts?
Yeah, she's gonna be going. Right? They're gonna go to break soon.
We don't win that game if Jack Oakley doesn't go nuts. And in a one and done situation, if we had played in a best of 7, we weren't 15, but in a one game situation where one guy can get on fire and light it up, when the pressure seeps in and they realize, it's a 7 game situation, there's only one and done game, right? Or for the team that's going to win.
Right.
And so that's what causes all this. And then there's not a lot of differentiation. I mean, my team this year, Michigan beat the living crap out of us because Michigan played maybe the best half of basketball I ever saw. But we went to Purdue 2 nights later. They're number 1 in the country. We're ahead at halftime. Well, they made a 3 at the buzzer to tie it. We're ahead in the second half. With 5 minutes to go, we can. And that's in their building. And to play in Mackey Arena, it's believable, right? It is. To me, Mackey Arena is number 2 in the country. Of all the places we played, number 2.
What's number 1?
Kansas.
Okay. All right.
If you're a basketball person, you think you're a basketball guy, you've got to spend the money to fly out there and go to a game at Kansas. It is that. And visit early, go through the Naismith Hall of Fame, which is right there in the concourse. He's got something. It's just, there's nothing like it. And the Breslin Center back in the day, and I think this year kind of got there again. Breslin's they're in that top 5 or 6 too. Illinois.
Coach Martelli said that the floor back in the day, the floor would move.
At Kansas?
No, at the Breslin.
Oh, yeah.
The floor would shake.
I think Izzo had like a string or something.
Now we're going to step aside. We'll be right back. We'll pick up on that conversation when we return here. A special edition of Sports Wrap right here at 760 WJR.
sequence, and here we go. 2-point Santa Clara lead, 17 seconds.
Same message. Try to get something going towards the basket.
Chandler gets it to Owe to spin, elevates, lays it in, and we're tied.
Spirit of the Citadel to Santa Clara.
What?
This is Gabriel Lugo.
What?
Raise, elevates,
I think so.
2.4 away. Yes. Ortega Owe has just etched his name in the March Madness war. Miracle shot for Kentucky.
The sounds of Santa Clara and Kentucky. That is what March Madness is all about. Right there earlier today, that game would go into overtime, and Kentucky would actually sneak that one out in OT, 89-84. Welcome back here to Buddy's Pizza, the headquarters of the original Detroit Deep Dish. This is a special edition of Sportswrap here, taking over the Mitch Album program, a March Madness extravaganza. That is the Lions legend, Lomas Brown. I am Anthony Bellino, Dave Rieger, our technical director on site, Danny Kalin back in the studio, and the coach, Greg KAMPE, on site with us as well, doing this whole radio thing all day. He's the veteran of the program, though. He knows what's going on. This is not his first rodeo.
FOP,
Friend of the program, friend of the station. I mean, how many radio hits were you going to do today, Coach? How many requests did you get? I mean, you were doing television earlier in the week, filling out brackets, trying to do all that, trying to help out our good friend Joel Sebastianelli. I mean, you do the media rounds.
Yeah, I wish we were playing.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
This makes it a little easier because I don't have to sit at home and stare at the wall. You know.
Now, we were talking about some of the great places to play. You mentioned that game coming off of the game against Michigan. You guys went on the road to Mackey and played Purdue and played them tough. Right, in some of the great venues across college basketball. And we were laughing about the Breslin. So let's go there with Michigan State because, you know, we decided to take a page out of Dan Campbell's playbook, right? And we said, we're not going to grade any wins during March Madness. It doesn't matter if you win by 1 or 100, survive in advance. This is where that terminology came from. It's this tournament right here. Just get to the next round. That's all you can do. And Michigan State, they decided to make it easy on the fans because when you play early, when you get a win and you do so in the form and fashion which the Izzo kids did, like it was 8-7, I think, and maybe 15:35 on the clock in the first half. And that was the last time I think the Spartan fans actually kind of like scratched their heads because it's blowout city. And that's a nice, relaxing afternoon for Spartan fans.
Yeah, and I think what Joe Average fan, and I learned this from Lute Olson.
Oh, Lute.
Remember Coach Olson? Yeah.
Yes.
God rest his soul. And I didn't really know this, but many, many years ago, I was at a lunch with him, sitting with him, and he started talking about Duke, and he hated Duke because he believed that Duke, that the tournament gave them the best draw every year. And he just believed that, you know, and it was for TV or it was to get people to watch or to fill arenas and that. And we had a long discussion, and he talked about the importance of the draw. And it really is, you know, matchups. For Michigan State yesterday, they got a great matchup. And I learned this in, I think, 2012, maybe. I had probably the best team I ever had. I had Keith Benson, who was drafted 39th to 6'11". There weren't a lot of great post players, right? So we're sitting at the Selection Sunday, and we're a 13 seed, and we get Texas. I would have taken anybody in the country but Texas, but we got Texas. They had 3 lottery picks, and they had Tristan Thompson, the only big in the country that could guard my big, and that's who we got. VCU went to the Final Four that year, and I still believe if we had gotten VCU's draw, I don't know if we got to the Final Four, but we'd have won some games. We lost by 4 to Texas with, you know, that guy, I forget the forward's name that was a top 12 pick. I mean, they had 3 lottery picks on their team. They dropped to a 4 seed. They were number 1 in the country the last week of the regular season. They lost their last game, and they lost in the first game of the conference tournament. And when it was all said and done, I tried to get an answer how they fell to a 4 seed. Well, we were in Tulsa, and they wanted to fill the place. So they moved them to Tulsa, and the only way they could move them to Tulsa, Kansas played the and they sold out both afternoon and morning brackets. And the only way they were going to get them there is to drop them to a 4. So who takes the blunt of that? Oakland, right? So this is a long answer, but Michigan State got a great draw for them. North Dakota State's a really good basketball team, but they're a perimeter-oriented team. They couldn't score in the post. They took 25 threes a game or whatever. And Michigan State built on defense, right? They can guard that. When you've got a guy that can score in the post and then can kick it out to the threes, that's where, that's like we had Trey Townsend kick out to Goki. A team like that's going to hurt Michigan State. North Dakota State wasn't going to hurt. That was the best draw they could get, and they needed it because they're coming off 2 losses, right? And now they're feeling great about themselves, and more importantly, the fans are feeling great about them. Yeah, Mr. March, right?
So, Coach, explain to me. So, okay, we know football, right? Say you got a matchup in football. Say it's the playoffs in football. You got a week to prepare for that team. You guys probably a week to prepare when the tournament starts, or maybe not even that long to prepare. So how do you get these guys ready? How do you get your coaches ready? You know the tendencies of what these other schools are going to do. Do you pre-scout these teams? Do you try to guess who you might get in the brackets? How does that work with the tournament?
Well, in Michigan State's case, they were going to be a 1 or 2 seed, right? Mm-hmm. So what they've got, so there's a thing called synergy, all right? And we all pay for it. And it's every play of every game. And you can push a button and say, I want every turnover that Oakland made this year. Bam, there it is in 2 seconds. Every turnover that we made. So they've got their minions, their graduate assistants, their managers. They've got 25 guys that are in that room with all that film stuff. And they're going, okay, who is being projected as a 15, 16 seed? And bam, they're hitting it, and they got everything. They got everything. The minute the announcement is made on Selection Sunday, North Dakota State, right? Bam, they sprint to that room, and they got everything. Within 30 minutes, they have everything, every play that North Dakota State ran, every sideline out of bounds they ran, every baseline out of bounds they ran, every jump ball, everything, right? All their tendencies. And then their staff's on the phone with every team that played them. Now, within the league, you're not supposed to. So if Wright State won our league, if somebody called me and said, tell me about Wright State, legally I can't do it because our league has rules. We want our league teams to win. But so every non-league game Wright State played, I guarantee you the Virginia coaching staff called them and said, what'd you take away from that game? How do we beat them? What did you do? Those types of things. That goes on that Sunday evening. And by the time the players show up Monday morning, they got it all, man. And then, they got till Thursday to play or maybe Friday. So it's a 3 or 4 day prep. And the 3 or 4 day preps are the best because you can slowly prep. When you have a 1 day or a 2 day prep, you got to shove it down their throats. And honestly, kids today, they don't learn that way. They don't learn. They don't listen. They don't learn through talk. They learn through video, right? They play video games. They know that they don't listen. They text, they don't talk, right? So as a smart coach, you have to understand that, and everything you do has got to be video. We spend so much time in it. And when I say we, I mean coaches.
It's incredible. And then when you start to look at the bracket, right? So you had Michigan State as a 3 seed, North Dakota State as a 14. And then if you win that game, you get the matchup of 6 versus 11, Louisville in South Florida. So if you are Tom Izzo at that point, and you've been through this, right? Go back to your last tournament run. Are you already kind of looking ahead? And, you talked about synergy. So are you already looking at, all right, we got to pull everything from Louisville, pull everything from South Florida, and trying to game plan and put together a scout for those 2 teams? Because you're only going to have, 24, 36 hours to figure this out for the next game.
Right. So on Sunday night, they did all that North Dakota State stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I have 9 managers. Imagine how many Michigan State has.
109?
Yeah. Probably. Yeah. All right. So in that room, you've got a coach who's going to be assigned to South Florida and a coach who's going to be assigned to Louisville. And he's going to take 4 managers with him. And everything that this group's doing for North Dakota State, they're doing for Louisville, and they're doing for South Florida. And they have that all ready. And as soon as that game ended, this is what it looked like. Michigan State went to the locker room. I don't know who played first. I don't remember. I think Michigan State played first because they were the early game. So team goes back and eats. Whoever's in charge of Florida and whoever's in charge of Louisville stays. The minions stay with them. They have rental cars because they're not on the bus. They get on as soon as that game's over and they know what's going to happen. They go back. The team by then, the team's eating. The team's back in their rooms. Izzo's bitching about this and that, and they call them in, and you walk into their suite. So Michigan State at their hotel has a ballroom then too, and on the floor in the ballroom will be tape of the court, and they will walk through who they're playing Louisville, right? So they've got the guy in charge of Louisville comes in, and they stand their scout team up, and this is Joe Blow, the point guard at Louisville, number 3, and they put a tape of 3 on him, and they walk around the court and they walk through everything. Then after that, they go and they watch film of it. All right. And since that game was at noon, they have the post-game meal. Then at about 9 o'clock, they'll have another meal. And then after that meal, they'll go back to the tape court and they'll do it all over again. And then they'll show them more video. Then they'll get up the next morning. They'll have breakfast in that room. And then they'll walk over to court and they'll do it again. Then they'll go for their practice and they'll walk on a real court and do it. And then they'll do it live. So all the plays that Louisville has done, they'll have walked through 10 times. They'll have seen it on film 10 times, and now they're going to do it live. Then they're going to go back, they're going to have dinner, and they're going to do it again. And they're going to watch the film again because that's the only way they learn. If I just sat there and told them, they're not learning.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. How do you coach a guy? Because you've had a couple of NBA players. I remember the little short, what's the little short guard? I love K, man. So you've had NBA players. How do you coach them? Because they're NBA ready. Coach them. But how do you coach the rest of the guys? I mean, is there a difference? Do you not coach this guy because you know what you're gonna get from this guy and you concentrate more on other guys? How does that go?
Well, I think this is what differentiates coaching. You know, every coach is going to do what I'm talking, not just Izzo, but everybody. Some do it better than others, right? And you coach players different. Every player's got to be coached different. Every player has different. I always say that they are products of their environment. Did they have a tough mom and dad? Did they not have moms and dads? Have they been told how great they are since they were this? And if I start telling them how bad they are, they're going to check out. You know, I've got to learn and have a relationship with every player and figure out how to coach them. And am I 100% right every time? No. In fact, that's what differentiates. I think it's the thing that makes Izzo. I think he's the best at it of anybody that's ever done it. I think he's the best at that. He can grab a kid and the fans go, "What are you doing?" And the kid's going, "Yeah, grab me. You know, that's what he wants, right?" Izzo knows all those things. So every player's coached different. Now, I coach my point guards different than I coach everybody else because think about this, guys. Basketball game's 40 minutes. All right. I have a great post player. Great one. Trey Townsend I had 2 years ago. During the course of a game, how many minutes of that game is the ball in that guy's hand?
I just saw the statistic. I just saw this. Who just broke this down on? They just did it on.
You
Twitter.
saw it? Oh, I could tell you exactly.
Somebody went through it and broke it down because they were trying to explain like how often are you touching the ball and what are you doing the rest of the game when you don't have the ball in your hands.
Many of my players touch the ball less than 90 seconds during the game. Wow. Trey Townsend might have had it 3.5 minutes. My point guard's got it 14 minutes. Because the way we play, we get the ball to our point guard. He runs the show. He's always got the ball. So I have to coach that guy different than I coach a guy that's going to only have the ball 27 seconds in his hand. Wow. I'm going to coach him to go hit somebody, right? Go hit somebody. Go get a rebound. Go dive on the floor. You want to touch the ball? Go get it. Because we're not going to throw it to you. You know, if we do throw it to you, you're only going to have it for 2 or 3 seconds.
Right.
And, you know, and when they're in the gym in the summer working on their game, they got the ball in their hands the whole time.
Yeah.
But that ain't going to happen in games, right? So you've got to coach guys different. For me, the point guard is and I would say most coaches do that. But I do think that's the differentiating fact And I think young coaches make a lot of mistakes in what you're talking about, how you coach certain players. Because, you know, X's and O's are X's and O's.
Yeah.
You know why plays work?
The players. Right?
Because the player can make the play, right? You can teach the fundamentals of it, but if you can't coach them to do the fundamentals of it, that's where the coach comes in. The player still got to set the screen. He's still got to catch the ball. He's still got to put it in the basket. He's still got to finish. You know, when we went in the Hall of Fame together, you probably didn't remember my speech because I think I talked before you and you were probably worried about yours. One of the things I said was, this is one of the few Hall of Fames I've ever gone in where it was about what I did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because most of the accolades that I've gotten in life aren't because of what I did. They're because of what my team did. My players did. And
Great point.
you know, we gotta value that.
Yeah.
And I have success because they can do those things, not because I can do anything. Maybe I can give them an environment that they can live and learn in. That's really my job.
Incredible.
Yeah,
Oh man,
I know.
this is the kind of stuff right here. I'm like a sponge. I just want to just get right back on the court. We're going to step aside. We'll be back with plenty more Sports Wrap. It's a special edition coming to you live from Buddy's Pizza. The March Madness continues on Utah State and Villanova. Fighting it out, a little 8-9 action, a 2-point contest right now. Are you kidding me? This is what it's all about right here. The best tournament in the world. We'll be back with more Sports Wrap after this. Elite Educators Insurance, that's a team that can help you do the same. Because when it comes to protecting what you have worked hard to build, having the right coverage matters. Elite Educators Insurance specializes in coverage for educators while also providing insurance solutions for individuals and families in every profession.
From home, although renter's insurance, we provide coverages that fit your lifestyle. They take the time to understand your needs and match you with the right protection. No confusing jargon, no cookie-cutter policies, just straightforward guidance from people who know the game.
You know, Lo, whether you work in education or anywhere else, Elite Educators Insurance makes coverage simple, personal, and easy to manage. You can learn more today at EliteEducatorsAgency.com.
Cashback is not
Are
available
we
on
now
campus.
good till the end of the
this extravaganza. You're on day 2 of the tournament. Welcome back here to Sportswrap on the great voice of the Great Lakes, 760 WJR, a special edition, taking over for the Mitch Album Show. Cousin Ken Brown and Steve Courtney and Mitchell and Kevin and the whole crew, CD, the whole gang, they got the day off because Mitchell went to Haiti. I think that's where he's at.
Yeah,
he's there.
Yeah, I
Okay.
talked to Rosie about that.
Rosie, forgot
So, you
Rosie. Oh, he's got a staff of 75 people. I mean, how am I supposed to remember everybody?
Look, Mitch had to go in there incognito because you know what's going on over in Haiti.
I can't imagine
So-
he would stand out.
I know.
We are here at the headquarters of the original Detroit Deep Dish Buddy's Pizza. Visit buddyspizza.com. They got a BOGO half off the 8 square right now. Buy any 8 square, get a second 8 square half off when you dine in, carry out, or order online using the promo code BOGO8, valid at all Buddy's locations. But that special ends today. You just heard him. That's the Lions legend, Lomas Brown. I am Anthony Bellino. We've got the coach, Greg Kampe. The Oakland Golden Grizzlies. He's on site right now, folks. He's been here all so long. They even, Buddy's Pizza even made the Golden Grizzly Pizza, Coach Kampe's special. That's a limited edition. It might even be 95% off.
What was the golden? What were the ingredients in the golden?
Well, they asked me what I like the best, and I like a spicy sausage. I like banana peppers, and I like mushrooms. So we just threw that on there with their sauce, and it's really good.
Yeah.
Yep. Dave Rieger, our technical director on site, wanted no portion of that pizza.
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
It was delicious.
I don't know if it was the spice or the beef or the sausage, but it's something that he didn't want.
Yeah. Well, it's you gotta expand your horizons, Dave. That's what it is. Danica Haaland back in the studio, and this has just been awesome across the board. And Coach, one of the main topics here going into this tournament was a former coach, now television analyst. His last name is something that a lot of people go deep sea diving for. It's a pearl. And he got on television, old Bruce, and he was defending his son's team that, let's face it, they were just mediocre in the SEC. It was Auburn. And Bruce Pearl got on the television, and he was talking all about how, well, Auburn is a really good team. And, Miami, Ohio hasn't played anybody, and they don't deserve it. Miami, Ohio, the old Redhawks there, coming out of the Mid-American Conference, right? Get some action. They were 31-0. And I don't care if you are playing in an AAU, a YMCA league, a CYO league, going undefeated and winning 31 games in anything in any league is incredibly difficult to do. And boy, did they get by the skin of their teeth, because they had to go down to OU down in Athens to see my buddy Coach Barlow and Coach Bowles and the whole gang down there, and they escaped in overtime by 2, and that was a real nail biter. But they did. They got bounced out by UMass in the opening round of the MAC tournament. Okay, there was a little bit of a debate, but the committee does the right thing. And they said, if you go undefeated, you have to get into the tournament. There can't be a debate about this. But High Point, they get a win over Wisconsin. And they got a coach by the name of Flynn Clayman. And post-game, Flynn Clayman just let everybody have it. Here is what Coach Clayman had to say.
It's pretty obvious to me that something needs to be done about this non-conference scheduling. High Point and Miami, Ohio are 2-0 in quad 1 games. We couldn't get games. They couldn't get games. Akron couldn't get games. UNCW couldn't get games. Belmont couldn't get games. We won 22 of our last 23 games, and we didn't move up one spot in the metrics. Not one. We won 22 of our 23. We've won 25 games by double digits. That team right there is a fantastic team that beat 5 top 10 teams. If we can get games like this on neutral courts and some home games, I think we'd know who's really the best teams. I'm proud of these dudes, and we're not just here to win one game. We're here to get to the Sweet 16.
Coach Kampe, are the big guys, are the high majors, are the Power 4, are they trying to hold us down?
Miami's getting beat pretty bad right now by Tennessee.
I didn't want to look at that. I didn't want to look at that. They won their first 4 games. Akron already got stomped earlier by 20. I just can't look.
But Akron was in the game. It just got away at the end. Let me say this. What he's having been in that NCAA tournament and the emotion of it, and then going to have to speak right after that to the media, and knowing that everything you say, when I go to my post game after we beat Northern Kentucky at home, nobody's listening other than people that care about Oakland, right? He's talking now in front of the whole world, and it's a chance, and the emotion is running through him. And maybe he would back that down a little bit if it was just a regular season game. One of the things that I think We struggle to get games also, and I beg my friends. And we played number 1 Purdue, number 1 Houston, number 6 Michigan State, number 9 or number 6 Michigan, whatever. We played all those teams, right? But those are relationships. And the other thing is, the schools that wouldn't play them, they want Power 5 schools that they can beat. You know what I'm saying? They're not calling up Tennessee and saying play us. They're calling up the bottom of the SEC and say play us, because they want to get to win a quad 1 win that gets them into the NCAA tournament, gets them in that large bid like we all do. But there's a lot of the top coaches that would play those teams, but they don't want to play them either because they want to get wins. They don't want to get losses. An old guy like me that it doesn't matter and all I care about is the money, I can get those games, right? Because I'm just trying to get money. We're going to lose. It's great for my kids to play in that situation, in those environments, in Mackey Arena, at Houston, those things. But we're getting paid to do it too. So there's that fine line there. But when you win the way you won, in the emotion of it, yeah, go ahead and say what you want to say. But it isn't going to change. It's just like the head of the NCAA coming out and saying if we increase the tournament numbers, it'll allow more of these games. That might be.
He's lying. He's lying to us, Coach.
If he honestly believes that, then I would never say that he's doing that. He's promoting his job, whatever, I guess. But that ain't happening, man. You can put 150 teams in there. The metrics, as Frank Martin said, the metrics have changed when they went to the net. In the old days, when you had the RPI, strength of schedule, and who you played was the most important thing. Now they look at quad 1 and quad 2 when they don't want you in there, right? But the big boys are going to play all those games because it's in their league. So what the big boys want non-league now, because the net is a metric thing. What is your points per possession? What are your defensive points per possession? How much do you win by? Those types of issues. Why would you play High Point? Because even if you beat them, it's only going to be by 6 or 8 points. But if you go play the, Ozark School of the broken ankles, and you score 2 points per possession and win 113-65, your metrics are going to go up. Now, Oakland would beat that same team by the same score, right? We played Defiance College this year, and I think it was 112-60 or something like that. So your metrics is what they're looking at, and that's why Frank Martin came out and said since they went to the net, it's changed everything, and it's killing the mid-major. And Frank's right. He's right. It has changed everything. And so a school like Northwestern, they're not going to play High Point. And the other thing that people have to understand is the coach at those schools is making $3 million a year. And they like making $3 million a year. Why would they play High Point or Miami, risk losing, and all their fan base fire him, right? How can you lose to you've got all this money, Miami doesn't, and they beat you, fire that guy. Well, that guy wants his $3 million a year. Let's just like Lomas, I mean, you don't need money. I mean, you made all those money, right? But Anthony and I mean, we'd like $3 million a year.
I've got a tiny tin out here. I got my tin cup. I was walking around shaking it earlier.
I'll take it, Coach. If they give it out, I'll take it.
So if you're getting it, you're not playing.
No, you're right. You're right about that. So, Coach, let me ask you this. What about the state of the game right now? What do you think the state of college basketball is now? What I'm saying is this year with the freshman class that we talked about, all the talent that's come out in this freshman class, and now I guess the majority of these guys are going to go to the pros, so we're going to lose that. But where do you think the state of college basketball is right now?
Well, the state of the game it's as good a game as there's ever been. The level of play, the talent of play, maybe even higher because you got older guys now. You know, one of the things we said as a coach, we got to get older and stay older, which is screwing all the high school kids because now they've got to go maybe Division II and then work there's 550 Division II players in the transfer portal right now. Division I can't enter it until April 7th. So right now, only people are the non-D1 players. There's 550 of them in that portal already because now they want the bag. They want to chase money. And I talked to a kid the other day, he wanted $150,000.
For what?
For me to sign with us.
Well, here, I got a pen. I'll sign with you right now. I don't even need 150, coach.
This is a D2 kid who averaged 17 points a game in Division II, and if my team would have played him, we would have beat him by 40 points. Wow. He wants to come and play for me and get 150,000. And maybe he's right. Maybe he could come and start for me and do all that because he's a good player. But that's what the thinking is. They're all going for the pot of gold. And on April 7th, if you're a kid that's playing Division I basketball, why wouldn't you go in? Because you don't value your own players. You know what they're worth. But if they go into the portal, somebody else might think they're worth a lot more. So they'll take the money. And that's all it has become. That has to change.
Yes.
And the bad on the state of the game is that fans they love seeing a kid come in 6'7", 185, 4 years later graduating at 6'7", 235, and went from, Frank Kaminsky at Wisconsin, took him to the national championship game, right? Frank didn't play as a freshman, played 12 minutes as a sophomore, was third team all-league maybe as a junior, and then was player of the year in the country as a senior. Watching a kid develop and grow is the fuzzy, feel-good thing of the fan base. Yeah. Now the fan base is, we got to go to the fan base and say, can you give me some money so that I can buy this player, and the fans are getting turned off by that. But I will tell you this, the 32 teams that'll be left after today, their fan bases aren't turned off. They got their pom-poms going, and they can't even remember the name of the player that plays point guard for them. Right. But we're winning, baby.
That is so true. And the state of the game, there's a myriad of different directions. I love when, you hear like post-game interviews and you think about, all right, how was a game officiated in the Mid-American Conference, for example? And then when that team has to go play, you know what it's like in your league. And then when you went on the road and played in Mackey, you saw how it was officiated. And you heard that term freedom of movement they talk about all the time. And you watch how a game is officiated at the Big Ten level. And it's like, well, wait a minute. What is the state of the game right now? And then you think about all of the other stuff that's going on in roster construction. You think about trying to keep your staff together. You think about trying to be an ambassador for your school and all the donor relations. The development. I don't know how you guys do it. And then, then you think about, as you mentioned, trying to stay older, get older and stay older, the recruitment of the high school kid. This is, you got to be nuts to coach in college in sports right now.
Yeah, but
you love it.
Yeah, it's my job, right? I don't want to do anything else. Is it really a job? I get to sit here for 2 hours with you guys because of it. So
it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's interesting. The officiating thing is really, it's kind of a separate entity in itself. And, I saw a thing on Twitter today where the first female umpire, behind the plate umpire. Did you see that? Yeah, she umped her first game behind home plate, and one of the first pitches was right down the middle, and she called it a ball. And so they went to this new thing they have, and they challenged it, and it shows it was right down the middle. So I don't know if we're going to go to that in basketball or not. The old guy in me says, that's part of the game. It's been my whole life, the era of officiating, right? And one of the things I had to learn early when we started playing the Big Ten and the SEC and all those schools is what you just said is, freedom of movement's a whole different world in those leagues versus our league. And then you get in the NCAA tournament and it's kind of back more towards our league, which is helpful. But here's the reality of it. They pay the referee way more money in the Big Ten than they do in the Horizon League. And the Horizon League pays way more money than maybe a league below us. And they pay more money than maybe and then they get into Division II and they're not getting anything hardly. And the referees are working their way up because, if I'm making $4,000 a game working in the Big Ten and it's my part-time job and I do 75 games, you can do the math, right? So if I'm only making, say, $3,000 working the Horizon League, right? And now the Horizon League's playing the Big Ten, and we're at Little Caesars Arena, and I got my Christmas sweater on, and Izzo's down there with his Christmas sweater
Guys
on.
look great, by the way.
Yeah, and we're yelling at those referees. If you're the referee and you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to make this amount in the Big Ten and make this amount in the Horizon League, which coach do I want to listen to, right? I'm surely want to listen to the guy in this Christmas sweater with Izzo's face on it, and the guy fat guy in the Christmas sweater with that guy's face on it, right? So I'm not winning that battle during that game. And I mean, it's human nature, but it's what basketball's always been. It's an imperfect sport played by imperfect people, coached by really imperfect people, right? And that's the beauty of it. And so I don't think I want that strike zone. I want that lady to, learn from her mistake and figure it out and get better, not rely on technology.
You think it gets back to the old school way of playing? Do you think it gets back to feet in the paint first, then you look outside? Now it seems like guys are running for the corners now. I mean, even the big fellas, man, they don't want to touch the paint. It just seems like, is that cyclical? Will it get back to where, like I say, it's in the paint and then you look outside?
Let me ask you this. You're coaching. You got a good big guy, and you throw it into him 15 times. How many shots is he going to make of those 15 with the physicality of the game and everything down in the post? 8?
Okay.
That's better
That's
than 50%.
Yep.
8, right? Okay. So you have 16 points, right? So little fat guy out here, I come out here and I shoot 15 threes.
Okay.
Right? All I got to do is make 6 to outscore you. That's 35%. I'm going to score more points. You're down there banging and getting those close shots and shooting 60%. If I shoot 40, I'm shooting the same as you, and you're not going to shoot 60 probably.
Yeah.
So the game's never, you've let the toothpaste out of the tube, man. It's never going back to that.
So they're teaching the big guys now. You got to have a bit. You got to have a big shot. Then so for instance, if we shift to the pros, Jalen Duren,
they can clinch tonight if they win. Just saying. Officially clinch. I mean, there's a 1 seed. They're going to be in the playoffs.
San Antonio, I know they clinched.
They clinched last night. Yeah.
Jalen Duren, the guy that's still developing his outside game, but oh my gosh, in that paint, I mean, the dude is a monster in that paint. But you think they're still, the shooting coaches and all them, they're still working on trying to get his outside game, even though he's a monster in the paint, coach, and doing well in the paint. They still need him to develop that outside shot, the three-point shot.
Absolutely, but Dennis Rodman, Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, I'm going way back. Those guys would still be successful today because they were a freak at doing something. And I tell my guys, as you said, I've had 5 NBA players, and I tell them all the time, if you can't make a 3, you have to be a freak at something else. You got to be the greatest defender that ever defended. You've got to be the greatest rebounder that ever rebounded. You've got to be able to be a physical monster, right? Even back in the day, Lambeer, what did he do best?
Yeah, you're right.
He shot the 3. Even though he was a big, strong dude down there, he shot the 3, which is how his toughness and the ability to make 3 is how he survived. If you can't shoot the 3, you better be Shaquille O'Neal. You better be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You got to be somebody. And Jalen Duren's on his way to being a freak. I mean, he is. There aren't many people like him, which is why they have the best record in all of basketball, you know.
And now, Cade, Yeah. Now
Have they found out what caused that?
So they're saying it's the play in which there was the loose ball, and then the two individuals I forget who fell on top of them, but that's what allegedly caused it. So we'll step aside. Dan's telling me. By the way, Villanova's head coach Kevin Willard, when asked during the game, about the they do the in-game interviews. I don't know what the question was, but Kevin Willard said, "quote I'm going to fire my staff." The in-game reporter said, "Not now." He said, "Yeah, I am, because we've given them 8 points on underneath out-of-bounds defense. The only thing I'm going to do is fire them and get a new staff." So there's a good quote in-game right there. Things are going well for
I'm going to Bandon Dunes with him on June 1st to play 5 days of golf. So I'll ask him.
Ask him about that, please. We need a full report. We'll be back with plenty more Sports Wrap. It is a special edition March Madness extravaganza live from the headquarters of Buddy's Pizza right here in downtown Detroit after this.
Telling you.
Cheese, pepperoni, and Italian sausage. Thank you so much.
Pepperoni. Cheese, pepperoni, what?
Italian sausage. So is today your actual birthday?
It is.
Is today your actual birthday? Wow.
It's always the first day of spring. It's always right in the beginning of the tournament.
That's great.
I play basketball in high school. It's my favorite time of year.
Is it? Okay.
Impressed by how many 8 pieces?
8 pieces.
8.
Good. Oh, yeah. Even though my show tomorrow morning got canceled, so I won't be coming to work. Because the Michigan State. So Harper wasn't happy. Pistons are. I don't know if the Pistons are playing today. So. And so.
stuff. So
Yeah.
you get up close and personal. You got to know the officials back then, AB.
Wow.
Now, I don't know if some of these guys even, one, want to care to know the officials, but two, if they,
you should know some background information so that you can have a conversation with them, butter them up a little bit.
Those guys in the NFL, their officials, that's their second job.
Yeah.
Just like in the NCAA
They
basketball.
got to change it. They
Yeah.
got to Coach, I've
Yeah.
been on my soapbox for the longest. Those guys, think about it. They're refereeing a billion-dollar industry and multi-million-dollar athletes, and these guys aren't even full-time. I never understood that. Never understood why
because they can't
would do
afford
that.
to pay them.
Please.
Yeah, but
Wait,
we
now,
can
Dave
we can
Rieger,
take the whole
please.
world to Germany to
Yeah.
play a game.
Thank
but we
you.
can't.
Thank you.
Well, they only have
Thank
until
you.
May 31st to get their CBA worked
Yeah.
out, or they're going to be the refs are going to be on strike, and they're going to try to go to the command center.
We don't need that again.
No,
Maybe
we
went through that
absolutely
once.
do not need that. I mean, we got a whole. This has been fantastic. I was looking at the whole list here that I made up, and I'm like, some of it you don't even need to dive into because it's like this is why we are here right now. I do have to ask you because you played both teams, and there have been a couple people. One of the guys' names is Seth. There's, Seth Greenberg. There's Seth Davis. A lot of people, Seth in college basketball. One of their brackets, I don't know which one, had Michigan versus Michigan State in the final.
Oh, that was Jay Williams.
Jay Williams had that
Jay
too.
Williams.
Yeah,
Seths did too.
one of the Seths did. Now, I don't know. Now, as an employee of Michigan and as a lifelong Michigan fan, right? That's obviously who I would pull for, right? It's a no-brainer for me.
I thought you were supposed to be impartial.
Well,
isn't the media impartial?
I'm fair and honest, right? They're the most fair and honest program in America. But we are the flagship of Michigan State, right? So you have that aspect of it too. Me personally, I don't know if our state could handle something like that because the fans are very irrational when it comes to this rivalry. Could you imagine if something like that could happen?
Well, I'd like to see it happen next year. Not this year, right? If it happens next year, it's in Detroit.
2027
here in Detroit,
yeah.
right?
Oh,
Wouldn't that be unbelievable?
Oh.
And if Oakland was one of the Final Four teams too, I mean, now if we're gonna dream, we might as well dream big, right?
Absolutely, I love
Give me,
that.
give me Oakland, Michigan, Michigan State, and throw in the Dukies just for good measure, just to bring Coach Shire here. Why not? Why not? We can have some good fun with that. Hey, Coach KAMPE, this has been just awesome. Like we honestly can't thank you enough for coming out, having some pizza, talking some hoops. This has been fantastic. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. It's fantastic. Dave Rieger on site. Danny Galen back in the studio. He's yelling at me. He's saying that Lomas, we got to read some stuff. So for all of you, thank you so much. For Mitch Album, thanks for allowing us to host your time slot here. And for all of our listeners, enjoy the rest of the weekend of March Madness. We'll recap it all in our normal time slot on Monday at 6 o'clock. You're on Sportswrap with the great voice of the Great Lakes, 760 WJR.
Detroit fan. Authentic German culture, exclusive fan events, plenty of time to explore the country's dynamic cities and historic charm.
From world-class beer gardens and traditional cuisine to iconic landmarks and electric football energy.
True Fan Travel will handle it all. Your flight, hotel, game tickets, tailgate, meet and greet, and more.
Take your fandom further and place your deposit right now for Detroit in Munich at truefantravel.com.
That's truefantravel.com.
WJR traffic and weather first.
A slow go on I-275 southbound between 6 Mile and M14. Also on I-75 northbound between McNichols and 8 Mile. And construction still slowing you down on I-94 eastbound between Connor Street and East Outer Drive. You're slow from Mount Elliott Street. Now WJR weather first from the Weather Channel. Overcast tonight, a low of 32. Cloudy skies for Saturday morning, turning into afternoon sun with a high near 45. Mostly cloudy Saturday night with a low of 39. Overcast and rainy for Sunday with a high of 59. Right now it's sunny and 70 degrees. I'm Rich Luzinski, WJR Traffic and Weather First.
This report is sponsored by Staples. Staples has hundreds of great ways to boost your brand, like spectacular signs, brilliant brochures, eye-popping posters.
Thank you.